Hi, it's Ray Mills, your VBA craftsman. Today I'm going to walk you through how to create a do loop, something that you'll be doing a lot of if you do any programming in VBA. There's always a use for that. So let's start with this simple do loop. Over here on the left, we have the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, and I have that 16 different times. On the right, I have a simple loop that I've constructed, and let's take a look at it. So all code always starts with a sub, or at least all VBA code, and ends with an end sub. Have a little annotation. Annotation always starts with an apostrophe. Annotation is great because if someone follows behind you, they know what you did. So let's look what it does. It goes to range 1. It selects range 1, so wherever it is, I'll put it here to start. It'll jump to range 1, and then it will do until the active cell value is empty. Empty being nothing in there, okay? We're going to say the active cell value equals lowercase of the active. So should make this a lowercase, right? That's what our step is. So if you actually look at the structure of, let me help you out here, the syntax of VBA. So we're going to do until some condition is true. In our case, the condition is that the cell is empty. We're going to execute some statements. In this case, we're going to convert it into a lowercase, and then we'll loop, right? And the statements are two parts for us. We're going to move down one cell, and we're going to change it to a lowercase if it works correctly, and I suspect it will, okay? And I'm going to put a stopper here by clicking in this column. You can also get on this cursor and hit F9. That would do the same. And now we're going to run the code. We do that by making sure we're in the code, and we can hit this or hit F5. And we run it, and you see that it jumped to A1 correctly. And now we're going to step through the code. Okay, nothing's empty. It's not empty. Oh, look, it converted that first cell in A1 to lowercase. And it will continue doing this until it's empty. Now, I'm going to let it finish. Bam, it's done. And it returned to A1 because we instructed it to do that right here. So pretty simple. Okay, I'm going to do another one. I add a little complexity here. And this is a fun one. Okay, very often if you're writing large programs that take time to run, sometimes that you might be reaching out to the web or grabbing information from databases. A lot of possibilities exist. And you might want to flash up on the screen a little message form that says, hey, where are we? What step are we at? Is everything working correctly? Rather than just have it running and you're not really sure what it's doing, right? So in this case, I've created a form and I call it counter. It has a label called label counter. It has two frames, an inner and an outer, and frame 2 is with the background of red. That's all there is to it, right? Very simple. So let's go here. And what I'm going to do is going to run it until it starts right here, right? So the first part loads the counter form, sets the counter label to 0, and then it shows the counter form. So when you load the counter form, you can manipulate it. You can change variables within the attributes within the form itself. So let's run it. Again, let's show my top. Of course, all code starts with a sub and ends with an end sub, right? Here we go. Rock. And it popped open a little off the page, but I'll bring it over so you can see it. Okay. Again, its counter. It's set to 0. Now let's see what it's going to do, right? Oh, look at that. So you could, in theory, and it's doing the loop, right? It's incrementing by 1. We'll walk through that at the end. And when it's done, it goes away. Okay, so let's look at our do loop, right? Do until our condition is until x equals 0, but we set the value of x to 0 just above it. So it enters with 0, so therefore it continues on. It waits a second. This is the simple wait command. You can also go out there and find the sleep command, which is a little bit more complex because you have to add in some variables. But we increment by 1. We set that label counter caption to x. Remember we saw it 1 through 10, and now we set the frame width to. I know that the maximum size we want the frame width to be 230. So each time it runs and x increments by 1, that width grows. So that's why you saw what looks like progress. Now, and then form repaint makes sure that the form shows the active values. Okay, so let's run it again. And hopefully it will come over. I'm going to stop it here again because, actually, I'm going to put it right here. We'll add a beep in here. That's a good lesson to learn, right? I use the beep as a breaker, so to speak. So the code will run down, it hits beep, and then it stops, and then I can think about if it's doing what I want it to do. So let's run the code. Okay, dragged, it popped off the screen a little bit. And now let's run it. See what happens. Oh, look at that. So our do loop is doing exactly what we wanted to do, incrementing by 1 and raising the size, increasing the size of the width. Works great. Do loops are really easy, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you need any other help you have and more, what I will call the Excel Masterclass, you can go visit my website, www.excelandvbacraftsman.com, and enjoy. And you can look around and you'll see a lot of interesting tips. So thanks very much.